Welcome back, everybody, to Warhammer Weekend Times. I'm your host, Stan, and I've got a treat for y'all today. I've been playing around a little bit in the custom battle editor, and I've made a neat little scenario for you guys. So the idea is we have the High Elves over here, 2 armies of them, and they're going to be defending this really large plateau. We've got Chaos Undivided that's charging in through this really kind of long, kind of wide land bridge, and over here we've got Spyfly 123 emerging as the Skaven out of a large kind of cavern area, and they're emerging from this little dwarf underway that's been abandoned, assumedly, for a long time. But anyway, guys, so that's the scenario. Let's go ahead and go over the army compositions really quick, and then we'll go full speed. But Spyfly123 has some Warplock Jazales over here. I think he's got about 2 units of those. He's bringing some Plague Monks. He's got some Skaven Assassins. He's also got some Poison Wind Globadiers. He's got a unit of Storm Vermin Bodyguard with Queek Headtaker as the general. Over here we've got some Screaming Bell, or a Screaming Bell, some Doom Flares, a unit of Rat Swarms, a unit of Warp Lightning Cannon. I believe in the back he's got some more heavy infantry. He's got some Clan Rats over here. He has some Rat Ogres, and then way over here he's got some Plague Sensor Bears, some Albino Guard, and some Storm Vermin kind of mixed in. So I believe that is all of his army. I don't think I missed too much. Oh, yeah, he's also got some more fire throwers, guys. I think I neglected to mention those. He's got 2 of those, and I think that is going to be his whole army at this point. Over here, we've got Gojira playing as one of the High Elf armies. He's got several units of Lothern Seaguard over on this area, kind of defending this this land bridge that Spyfly will have an opportunity to come through, or Spyfly can kind of come up through here, but he'll have a serious hill disadvantage if he does. But Gojira's also got some White Lions, a unit of Sisters of Avalorn. He's got a few units of High Elf Archers, some more Lothern Seaguard over here, some Phoenix Guard, and a couple units of High Elf Spears. Over here he's got some Silver Helms, and then I think he's got a unit of Shadow Warriors, 2 units of Illyrian Reavers, a unit of High Elf Bodyguard, and then a unit of Dragon Princes of Calidor. Over here we've got Dodged It playing as the other High Elf army, and he's a little farther back, kind of defending the High Elf Tower and the small barracks over there, but he's got a unit of Lion Chariots of Trace. I think that's how you say it. It's either Trace or Trace. Thrace, I'm not sure. He's also got a unit of Phoenix Guard. He's got 2 units of Sword Masters of Hoeth, a unit of Lore Masters of Hoeth. Over here he's got a unit of White Lions, 2 units of Dragon Princes of Calidor, a unit of Dragon Lords, a unit of High Elf Mages, and then a unit of High Elf Bodyguard, and I think he's also got a unit of Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower over here. We'll see how this fares this game. He's going to have a really good vantage point to fire into our forces as we pour into the town. Or I guess it's not really a town, I guess into the plateau or peninsula, whatever you want to call it. Over here for my army, I've got a unit of Hell Cannon of Chaos. I've also got some Chaos Trolls. I've got 1 unit of Bloodletters of Khorne and some Chaos War Mammoths. I've got the Swords of Chaos with Archaon as my general. And then over here, I've got 1 of each Chaos Chosen. 2 units of Chaos Warriors, some Plague Bearers, a unit of Chaos Giants. I've got 1 unit of Sorcerers of Chaos. Over here, I think I've got some Chaos Warriors with Halberds, and then I got 1 of each Chosen Knight of Chaos as well. Oh, I've also got some Chaos Chosen, which are one of the new units we'll be seeing in 1.5. They are really cool. They have a bonus against Cav, and they're pretty much on par with Tzeentch Chosen. I think they have like 1 less attack or something, but that is subject to change until the final release of 1.5. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and go full speed now that we've gone over the army compositions. I don't think I missed any units, but if we do, we may see them in battle. So I'm going to start charging up my Hell Cannon and my Chaos Trolls. I'm really starting to move my infantry up. I don't have a lot of range capability. I've got my Sorcerers, which are kind of medium range, and I have my Hell Cannon, which is a pretty good long-range artillery unit if I can get some good shots into some masses and blobs, but otherwise it's kind of inaccurate, and you actually run the risk of doing a lot of damage to your own lines. Over here we can see Gojira's kind of set up a little line over here to defend against me as I come in. It does look like I have maybe an opportunity to slide through here, but he might clog those gaps later. And it does look like his Lothar and Seaguard are taking aim at some of Spyfly's units. Spyfly's charging up his Warplock Jezzails and his Doomflayers, and they're both taking a lot of casualties from these barrages. Look at that. I think that's only one volley, and all those Jezzails are dead, and it looks like another volley is going to come in. These are really kind of low armor units. They don't really have... they have shields on their back, but I don't think they actually have a shield bonus in terms of whether or not they will block attacks. But Spyfly is kind of getting rebuffed here. He's really starting to get pushed back, and I think he's going to retreat a little bit. You saw some of those blue shots. Those are the Sisters of Averlorn kind of projectiles. Over here, I've got my Hell Cannon of Chaos. I think it's taking aim, and my Chaos Warriors are charging through, and I am going to quickly engage against Gojira's line. Here we go, guys. The Hell Cannon is going to fire off, and it's going to go over the heads of some of these elves and right into this unit of Lothar and Seaguard. It's going to do a ton of damage to that unit. It's going to kill a bunch of that unit there. Looks like it's going to clip some of these Sisters of Avalorn. Looks like they killed about 7 or 8 of these, and definitely killed a lot of these High Elf archers. So that was a really great shot. He's blobbed up there. It looks like he's going to react. He's pulling his Sisters of Avalorn back a little bit, but he is leaving his infantry in here. He's not moving his High Elf archers, and he's still kind of blobbed up with some of his cav and some of his other units. I could get potentially another few good shots in here if I really pushed. Looks like Spyfly over here is moving up his Warplock Jezzails as well. He is going to get in range, I think, pretty soon. But these Lothar and Seaguard, I think, are already starting to fire at him. I'm not quite sure. I don't see any arrows coming in. Let's go look at them and see where they're shooting. Actually, no, they're firing at some of these other Skaven down here. And it looks like, yeah, over here I'm starting to get closer in with my Slanesh Chosen and some of my Chaos Warriors, and they're going to be moving up right onto this precipice. This is going to be where they start getting in range of all these archer units, all those High Elf archers and Lothar Seaguard. And you can see, look at this hail of arrows coming in. That's quite a bit, but I don't even think that's all of the archers yet. Looks like we got some archers firing over here as well, some Illyrian Reaver shots coming in. And look at this now. Look at this. Just like a beehive of arrows just coming in and doing a bunch of damage to these Slanesh Chosen and Chaos Warriors. It's really a good thing that these guys are heavily armored. Okay, look at this. This is getting kind of ridiculous. But it's a good thing that I've got heavy armor and shields on these units that I'm charging up. If I had charged up Marauders or had Marauders or Marauder Desolators or anything that really didn't have a shield, these units would just absolutely have gotten wrecked moving up. They are taking a lot of casualties, though, as each volley that fires in is doing a bunch of damage, and it is going to get just kind of crazy in here. Another shot coming in from the Hell Cannon, going to be doing a lot of damage to these High Elf archers. But these Lothar and Seaguard are consistently firing in to my blob formation. I need to be really careful. But look at this. Look at all those blue arrows firing in, all those regular arrows firing in. This is going to be a bad time for my Chaos Warriors if I don't consistently push. My Bloodletters of Khorne do have multiple HP, but against those Sisters of Avalorn, I think they may have a bonus against high HP units. I do know certain range units do kind of ignore HP or ignore certain amounts of armor, so they can do a lot of damage. My Chaos Giants are moving in, however, and they are going to start taking out swaths of these High Elf Spears. These High Elf Spears are beginning to waver. The Phoenix Guard are bracing, however, over here. And it looks like my Mammoths have gotten through, and so have my Chaos Giants. But anyway, it looks like Gojira is going to get on his Silver Helms. They're going to move in, but this is not the engagement that he really wants against my Giants. He really kind of wants to be careful here, especially with these Giants packed so tightly and facing all different directions. They're going to be able to do a lot of damage. Some more shots coming in, doing a lot of damage to my Chaos Warriors, but again, the high armor and shield value that those units have is really going to help them defend against a barrage of arrows like that. They're still going to lose units, but it's not going to be as if, they're a non-shielded unit or a light infantry unit. Spyfly is taking some more pot shots in here onto those, into those Lothar and Seaguard. They are packed very tightly. That's not an engagement he wants to push through, but it looks like he's going to see sending up some of his Rat Ogres as well. They are going to be pretty problematic for these Phoenix Guard because Rat Ogres are now immune to stun locked, and now he's starting to move up his Plague Monks also, and they're going to be problematic. They aren't going to be taking as much suppressing fire since I've moved in a lot of my units now, but they do have 2 HP, but they are still going to be taking some shots. But coming in here, fighting against these Swordmasters of Hoeth, that's going to be a rough engagement for them. They are an elite unit, but it's going to be interesting to see how they fare against a 2 HP dual-wield unit like that. But anyway, guys, a lot is starting to go on. I'm starting to really push my line over here. I'm getting in pretty effectively. I'm starting to charge my Chaos Warriors in. Let's slow down just a little bit because it does get a little bit chaotic right around this point in the battle. So over here, we've got Dodged charging in his Lion Chariots of Trace. He is just going to be absolutely just chewing through these rat swarms, as he should. Those cats are going for those mice pretty effectively. Kind of a Tom and Jerry thing going on over here. But we see some more fire throwers firing into these Lothern Sea Guard, and that is going to be really problematic for them. Warp fire throwers have a very quick attack animation, or a quick reload time, and they can absolutely whittle down multiple HP units pretty quickly, and these Lothern Sea Guard are going to be nothing but really a snack for them. Over here, I think we have Spyfly's Warp Lightning Cannon. It's going to be firing away. It's going to just shear through some of those units over there, come in and just absolutely devastate the Dragon Princes of Calidor over here. They are just going to melt under that pressure. Over here, I have charged some of my knights are kind of around this mountain, or actually there's a little space here to kind of move your cav through, but they're going to get absolutely just shredded by the High Elf mages that are way out over here. They are just destroying these cav units like they're not even there. But they have really small projectiles. It's hard to see them. They're just kind of these kind of real light blue orbs. You can kind of see the fire effect on the ground, but that is going to just absolutely destroy this Chosen Knight of Slaanesh unit. They're going to go down from 60-something to just 20, so they've lost a third of their unit in just pretty much one volley. And they're going to charge in and try and just destroy these mages, but Dodged is not ready for that to happen, or is just not about to let that happen, as he's going to charge in his Dragon Princes of Calidor into my Slaanesh Chosen, and that is going to be pretty much it for the Slaanesh Chosen. A few did make it through, but they're going to get rebuffed by these White Lions as they move in and just destroy these last few Slaaneshi Chosen. Dodged is beginning to move up his High Elf Bodyguard. I do believe the High Elf Bodyguard unit does inspire nearby troops, so he can definitely use that to his advantage. So we will see how that works out for him. Hopefully these units shouldn't rout. I do know a lot of these units do have chevrons. When I set this up, I think I set everybody up to have multiple sets of chevrons. I think the weaker tier units only had about 3, and then the higher tier units had some silver chevrons. I think Chaos might need maybe a little bit of a dial backing, or a dialing back, because their units are pretty scary. Here comes Archaon in the Swords of Chaos unit. I am going to kind of park him here for a second, as my micro is going to kind of deviate someplace else just for a moment. But they're going to charge into the flanks of these High Elf archers and these Swordmasters of Hoeth. It's going to do a bunch of damage to them in here. I'm going to be moving up my Chaos Giants. It looks like something was shot through here. I'm not quite sure if that was a Warp Lightning Cannon fire or what. But something just roasted through some of those Swordmasters. My Giant is going to be whipping up on the last few units in this Dragon Princes of Calidor unit. Excuse me, fellas. And I'm going to kind of continue to charge my cavalry around and just kind of wrap up over here. Looks like Spyfly over here is beginning to move up some of his units, his Poison Wind Globadiers and his other weapon teams. He's got his Rattling Gunners over here, which I neglected to mention that he had at the beginning. I apologize for that, guys. And he's just destroying these Lothern Sea Guard, and they're going to rout from that. They do not want that continued fire from these Poison Wind Globadiers into their ranks, along with those Rattling Gunners. That are just too much for them, and they are going to book it. I think one thing that I did fail to do in this game, though, guys, is actually set a capture point for the tower, because that is actually where the High Elves would try and run back to, but I think that they just kind of run to the closest, border if they begin to rout, which is a problem. For the High Elf players, it makes it a little bit harder for them to hold on to their armies when they do begin to rout. And that's kind of why I tried to put a lot of chevrons on the units to try to avoid routing. You kind of notice those Hell Cannon shots are coming in, and those units really didn't seem to be too shaken. I think a lot of those units had triple bronze chevrons or you know, maybe even some silver chevrons as well. I think the Lothern Sea Guard had some silver chevrons. Oh, that was a graphical glitch. That was weird. But anyway, guys, I've moved up my Chaos Trolls into these Sisters of Avalorn. Looks like one of my Mammoths has died. I think both of my Mammoths are dead at this point, and quite possibly both of my Giants, I think, as well. Actually, no, it looks like I've got one of my Giants left, just one. He's going to move in here. He's going to be kind of a bad situation. If he takes some friendly fire from those Warp Fire Throws, that could kill my Giant. Those do a lot of damage to multiple HP units. But he's kind of sitting in here, not doing very much. So we'll see. Oh, and he's going to die. It looks like actually those Phoenix Guard that were left in here getting wailed on by these Rat Ogres just ended him. So it looks like I'm going to be charging my Swords of Chaos unit around a little bit. Try and charge it into the flanks of these Illyrian Reavers. It's going to be kind of a meh charge. Looks like I did get charged pretty hard, though, by these Nurgle, or by my Nurgle Chosen got charged pretty hard by these Dragon Princes of Calidor. There's not a lot left in this unit, and it does look like something's shaking. That may be, I'm not sure if Lore Masters are close by. Yeah, here they are. Some Lore Masters of Hoeth. Looks like they're firing some of their projectiles, but they're actually firing them into the ground. That's going to be a little bit problematic. I think the terrain could have been a little bit more even as well on this map. That's something I kind of want to revisit. I would definitely like to do this scenario again. But again, like I said, guys, I want to rebalance a little bit. I want to make this a better map. Next time I play it and do a recording of it, I want it to feel like a new experience. Like it's just been so much improved upon that, you know, it just feels more epic, and that's kind of what I want to go with in these scenarios. So, you know. But again, guys, just let me know what you guys think. That's what I'm really interested in, is knowing whether or not you guys enjoy these. But anyway, guys, my Swords of Chaos unit are going to be moving in. These Sword Masters of Hoeth are routing. That's very surprising. I'm not sure if that's just because of the Storm Vermin and all of these units just pressing hard on that unit or taking the rear cab charge caused them to rout. But those Sword Masters are going to rout off the field. And over here, it looks like I'm actually got a hold of my Sorcerers of Chaos. They're going to get some pretty good shots, actually, into these Shadow Warriors. Looks like I annihilated the Shadow Warrior unit. They were in a perfect column for my Sorcerers to get some pretty good piercing shots. But they're going to fire in, do a little bit of damage to these Lore Masters. I don't think I'm going to kill any of the Lore Masters, however. These guys do have multiple HP. They do have really good stats in melee, and I think they've got a pretty good missile damage on their spell. It's a single target damage, so they're not going to be just absolutely devastating lines in a single volley, but they're a very good versatile unit. You can use them for a lot of things, and they're pretty durable. But my poor Chaos Sorcerers are going to get charged and just absolutely annihilated. I think my looks like my Hell Cannon got charged earlier too. Looks like by probably some Illyrian Reavers as well. And I'm going to lose my Hell Cannon. I got one dude left in that unit, which is too few to operate a Hell Cannon with. But Dodge is going to be charging out his Cav into some of my Chaos Chosen. Looks like I'm going to move them out of the way just in time. A few are going to get trampled by these Dragon Princes of Calidor, and then some Illyrian Reavers are going to be charging into these Warplock Jezzails. That's a pretty good trade for Gojira. These Illyrian Reavers are a really good versatile unit as well, being really quick. Having a lance on the charge and having a bow makes them a really good unit, though. They're probably one of the fastest cav in the game next to Seekers of Slaanesh. They may have the same amount of speed. I'm going to bring in my Chosen Knights of Khorne. I did have them kind of camp down here along with my my other Chosen Knights, my Chosen Knights of Tzeentch. I did eventually charge them up here into those Lore Masters and did a bit... actually, no, those were not the Lore Masters. Those were the remaining Shadow Warriors, so I apologize for that, guys. But my Chosen Knights are going to be moving in and just chewing up on these Dragon Princes of Calidor. There are just too many Knights for these Dragon Princes to really deal with, and it really looks like the High Elves have kind of lost this area over here. A few of the Warpfire Throwers still firing in to some of these cav. Looks like the Illyrian Reavers are going to be routing as well off the field. Spyfly moving up some of his units. Looks like some of these Jezzails are still going to be firing in to these Dragon Princes, but the Dragon Princes are going to charge in, do a bit of damage to my Trolls. I don't think I lost any in that charge, but Trolls are now immune to Stunlock, but I don't believe that they are quite as strong. So they are going to be, you know, a kind of a specialty unit. They're going to go in. They're going to be kind of a really good Berserker kind of unit and move in and, you know, not get stun locked. That's something that was one of their major weaknesses, but having less HP, I think, really kind of compensates for that. They don't last usually as long in a battle, and they can't quite take as much abuse. But, you know, we were developing some builds, you know, in the meta in 1.5 where trolls that could not be stun locked, or could be stun locked, just, you know, if you kept them in a tight formation, it would keep them from being stun locked, and they had such high stats at that point that it was just crazy. But my Khorne Knights are gonna just absolutely get roasted by those High Elf mages. They don't have a lot of units left. They have some White Lions, they have some Sisters of Avalorn, some Dragon Princes, and it looks like they have even lost some of their High Elf mages. I'm not quite sure to what, but it's entirely possible that I clipped a few with those Chosen Knights of Slaanesh early in the battle. But they're going to be retreating up to the tower, and it does look like he still has his dragons, which operate a lot better, in my opinion, now. The idea is they have a big AoE attack, but they don't really have a charge, or they're not supposed to charge. Now, in this replay, they do charge, and I'm not sure why. It may just be the funky terrain that causes them to charge, so we'll have to kind of see how that plays out as 1.5 goes through the dev stages. But for the most part, in all the games that I've played, they pretty much just come in. Since you can't charge with them anymore, they have a 0 on the charge range. You can't really cycle charge them and have devastating effects like you can right now. But the idea is they kind of fly in, they'll knock some units around as they fly in, and they have a big AoE attack, so they're kind of like giants in that regard, or elephants. So that'll be really interesting to see how that meta develops. They're really not overpowered anymore. They were pretty bad in 1.01, where we pretty much just decided not to take them. So, but anyway, guys, the Plague Bearers are going to be moving up along with some of my Khorne Chosen. I still have a lot of Khorne Chosen, which are also now immune to Stunlock, so I think they share that along with some of the bigger units, and Temple Guard are also immune to Stunlock. I'm not entirely sure about who all is, but as we kind of play, we'll find out more, so it'll be a lot of fun. But Spy is moving up his Albino Guard. I'm moving up some of my Tzeentch Chosen, and I was actually able to move up my Chosen Knights of Tzeentch as well. But this is pretty much, I think, a win for our team, 68% to 89%. I think they were maybe a little too conservative with the mages at the beginning, or should have held on to some more units to kind of hold at this choke point, because they could hold this area, or at least hold kind of like this area and form a V, they would have a really good advantage point for their mages and for their Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. But they held this area over here, and I think we pushed in a little hard. But again, guys, I think the balancing's a little off. But you know, we'll take this kind of downtime to talk about that, I guess. But no, I feel pretty good about the map overall. I think, you know, like I said, some terrain can be adjusted, a few things here and there could be adjusted, but for the most part, I like the theme, you know, and I'm excited the fact that we'll actually be able to make these battles now and do these multiplayer battles with the special generals and everything. Archaon's not seen a lot of battle or fight or, you know, action in this battle. He's had a few charges, but I don't think himself has actually killed many units, so it's not very Archaon-ish of himself, but, you know, the Ever-Chosen cannot sully himself with such menial tasks. But anyway, guys, Spyfly is charging up his Albino Guard, or moving up his Albino Guard. I'm going to be charging up my Tzeentch Chosen. It does look like we might be in range, however, of these High Elf mages. So, I mean, this is a really good illustrator of how far their range is. Looks like they're not going to be throwing, though, and that might have to do with a Fire at Will issue. I know Fire at Will is a little wonky for Javelin units, which mages technically are. So we'll have to kind of see if they start firing their actual... Oh, there they go. They're starting to fire now. They're firing in. They're going to... looks like... I don't know if they're killed any units there. Let's see if any guys start dying. Oh, yeah, it looks like some of my Tzeentch Chosen are going to take some shots, but they are spread out enough where they're not going to take too many hits. You can kind of see the projectiles hitting the floor. Looks like my Chosen units are going to get really just whomped by them, so I'm going to move them over there, kind of mediate a lot of the fire coming from those units. Looks like the Lore Masters are also getting in range. They're going to start firing as well. Looks like some of these Tzeentch Chosen and these, I don't know if he's hitting any of the Albino Guard. It looks like he's just hitting my Tzeentch Chosen right now, but they're getting picked off by those mages. And here come my chosen Knights of Khorne. They're going to charge in and do a bunch of damage to these Lord Masters of Hoeth. These guys are going to take that charge relatively well. Then my Tzeentch Chosen are going to be moving in. Looks like these White Lions are going to be holding this position here. The Dragons are going to charge in and disrupt these units, and they're moving in quite effectively. Looks like one's going to kind of sit right here. Looks like I'm sorry guys, a Warp Lightning Cannon Fire is going to come in. These White Lions are going to be charging into these Rat Ogres and to these into these Albino Guard. And here's this is going to be the final push, guys, for Chaos to move in and for the Skaven to move in and claim this High Elf tower for themselves. Here we go, guys. It's happening. But the High Elf archers are going to be firing in. The Sisters of Averlorn are shooting in here. Looks like they're going to get some pretty good point-blank shots into the... Or not really point-blank, some pretty good close-range shots into these Albino Guard. I'm going to be moving my Swords of Chaos unit over here. Going to take out the Eagle Claw Bolt Thrower. But yeah, at this point, there's really not much they can do unless they can just absolutely get these High Elf mages to the very tippy top of the tower and just start firing down into this choke point that it's going to be probably the tightest right here, and that's where they're going to have the best opportunity. But the Warp Fire Throwers are going to be firing in, doing a bunch of damage here, going to be picking off these White Lions. Looks like another shot from the Warp Lightning Cannon is going to come in, and these White Lions are going to be sadly just getting roasted by Warp Fire as Chaos just comes in. And it's a bad day for the Elves. It's a bad day for them. Archaon's unit coming in here, finishing off the Dragon Princes of Kalador. The Chosen for Tzeentch, the Tzeentch Chosen are going to be helping them out, picking off some of these Dragon Princes as well. And the last few of my Chaos Trolls, I did get charged as they were coming up, however, and I lost a lot of them to a Dragon Prince charge. Yeah, guys, it's looking really grimdark for the Elves. But here we go, guys. It looks like Dodge is having some trouble firing with them. And again, I think it's the terrain. I think the terrain's just a little bit off. It needs to be maybe a little bit smoother. Maybe this needs to be a little bit of a more of an elongated area over here. You know, but let me know what you guys think. I want y'all's input on this because it's just a lot of fun. I had a blast making this, and just the fact that I can do this in Medieval 2 and make these scenarios and make these big maps. I mean, it's like a dream come true. I mean, it really is. You see all this cool stuff in Third Age, and you're like, man, that is some pretty cool stuff that Sin of the Dark Cloud puts into it, and Kuroguro-chan and Paladin Bob, and they make some amazing things. And just to be able to have access to these tools in Call of Warhammer, it's amazing to me. I mean, look at this High Elf tower. I mean, look how big this is. Look at the detail on this. I mean, how detailed the structure is and high resolution these textures are. I mean, it just looks amazing to me. And you know, I'm obviously just an amateur at this. I'm a rookie. This is the first one I've done, and just the fact that there's so much out there that more experienced people could make, that's what's really cool to me. And the fact that I can maybe eventually get to the point where maybe my stuff gets really cool too. You know, I don't know. It's just food for thought. But these Dragon Lords are going to be moving in here. These Stormvermin Bodyguard are going to be taking some hits. This High Elf Mages did not fare very well against what we had going up to the High Elf Tower to escort them down to their final resting place. But the Dragons are going to be resisting. They're going to be moving around a little bit, but I think they're going to be in range of some of the more devastating kind of weapon teams for the Skaven as they kind of charge back here. It looks like there's some Stormvermin. A shot coming in from the Warp Fire Thrower is actually going to take out one of the Dragons, and it looks like another one's going to get taken out as well by that Warp Fire Thrower. So these Dragons do not like Warp Fire, evidently, but this final Dragon's going to be coming in. Here's some Stormvermin. He looks like he's just going to kind of flap around, knock some of these guys around as he comes in, narrowly dodging some of those Warp Fire shots. Looks like the Warp Lightning Cannon's going to take a shot at him as well, but he's going to miss. It looks like some of the Poison Wing Globadiers are going to be firing in. A single rat from the Rat Swarm coming up. Oh, look at that. He's blocking the Dragon Lord, and the Dragon Lord is going to get poisoned by the Poison Wing Globadiers. And that is going to be how this game ends. That poor dragon getting gassed like that is really hard to watch. But that was the game, guys. Let's take a look at the kills. 156 for the Swords of Chaos unit, and everything else actually had a pretty good spread. My Plague Bearers got 0 kills. That's really weird. I really must have not engaged with them very much at all. Sorcerers got 123 in the short amount of time they were in use. They went through about half their ammo, though, so I've noticed mages don't quite have as much ammo. Certain mages do, but I think kind of like the typical mage for most units, unless they're kind of a weaker mage that specializes in you know, kind of a longer duration of the battle, they usually go through their ammo pretty quickly now. Chaos War Mammoth getting 196. That is really good. I think that is the highest amount of kills in my army. So, but anyway, guys, that was the battle. I really hope you guys enjoyed this, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day.